and the water that we drink. It's also like the land that we live on, the soil, just everything.
So, do we know what living and non-living is? What is the difference between living and non-living? Do any of you know?
Yes.
Adya, do you know?
Yes.
Oh, what is it, Mita?
Yes.
Yes, there's living and non-living. That's correct. Do any of you know?
Living is human beings,
Okay.
and non-living is like sofa, egg, pillow, and bed, like that.
Yeah, that's so
Yeah.
correct. That's totally right. Do you know the actual definition of it? Like, how can I differentiate a living thing and a non-living thing?
A living thing is a human being.
Yes.
I
It
am
is something they can breathe, they can think, they can speak, right?
Mhm.
Non-living things cannot speak. It will be silly. What if we sit in the
And
sofa and
they
the sofa
cannot
starts talking
speak.
to us?
They cannot speak.
Yeah, they cannot speak, they cannot breathe, they're
Yeah,
not living.
they
They don't
cannot
have to.
touch. They cannot smell.
They cannot walk also.
Yeah.
Cannot
They cannot
sense
walk.
anything.
That's correct, right?
Okay.
So living things are anything that can eat, sleep, breathe. It requires to grow. Like living things all grow. Non-living things don't grow. They stay stuck there. They don't need to grow,
Mhm.
right? So yeah.
Yes.
So let's see what else is the environment.
Oh. Okay, we're gonna. Nivetha, do you want to do this one?
Can do. Yeah. So what is hurting the environment right now? Why do we need to talk about this? So one of the biggest problems right now is climate change. The Earth's temperature is always changing, but right now the Earth is getting warmer at a faster rate than ever before. So when the Earth gets warmer, that's what climate change and global warming is called. So why does this climate change happen? It happens because, like gas that you use in cars, because we burn that, there's carbon dioxide emissions in the world, and it makes it hotter from the sun, and it makes the earth warmer. And you can see how much that climate change has an effect, because when it gets hot, it gets so hot now, and when it gets cold, it gets really cold. So this fluctuation of it getting really hot and really cold is like proof of why climate change is really big.
So like, okay, now let's think about an example. So right now, it sometimes gets very hot in Delhi. Like when in the summertime I came, right? And Delhi was very hot. Normally Delhi is hot, but it was extremely hot, right? It felt like my feet were going to burn if I stepped outside.
Yes,
It was very, very hot. Normally, it should not be that hot, but because there's so much extreme heat, it's that we're become feeling like it's getting very hot. And also, there's something called icebergs. I think there's ice glaciers. They're starting to melt because of the global warming. Because all this pollution is breaking the ozone layer, and all the rays of the sun is coming onto us. So we can feel that heat, and we'll feel very hot. And so even it's so hot that these ice glaciers yeah, they're melting. Yes. So yeah, that is very important.
They are melting.
They're melting, yeah. Do any of you know any other like examples of global warming?
Ma'am, global warming is a you should not throw the garbage unnecessary.
Yeah. We should reduce our pollution.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's on the.
It is so. It is
Okay,
so.
let's see the next
That's
slide. Yeah, see?
Okay.
Let's hear
So
what
another
Navya.
thing hurting
Ma'am,
the environment is also pollution.
I will say
One second, Madhumita. Let's listen to Navya and then I'll let you say. Okay? Go ahead,
Okay,
Navya.
so pollution is like trash that people throw on the ground and they don't dispose it properly, like recycling, like plastic. If you throw plastic away, it takes a lot of years and like hundreds of years to decompose. So it just sits in oceans and like the land, right? So if you recycle it, then you can like reduce the waste. And also there's like harmful chemicals that go into the earth when we use like cars, like that's what fossil fuels are, which is like harmful chemicals when you use your car and gas. And like an example of fossil fuels like coal, You know, when you burn coal to get like heat. Yeah, that's an
Yes.
example of fossil fuel.
And like with pollution, you can, with like recycling, we use the 3 R's: reuse, recycle, restore, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, R.
Yeah.
You can remember like that. So reuse, recycle, restore. And it's very important to recycle so that we can limit the pollution. Madhumita, do you want to share what you were going to say?
Global warming.
Okay, go ahead.
Example of climate change. Our changed climate, global temperature rose about 1.8 as 1 degrees Celsius. From 1901 to 202, sea level rise as accelerated from 1.7 year throughout most of the 20th century to 3.2 the 20th century to 3.2 year. Since 1993, glaciers are shrinking. Average thickness of 30 well studied glaciers has decreased more than 60 feet since 1980.
Very nice, very nice. Navil, do you know why the ocean levels are rising? Do you know anything about that?
They're rising due to as you mentioned before, like the melting glaciers. Since they're melting at such a rapid rate, the ocean levels are also rising with it because it was frozen water before above land, but now it's going back into the ocean.
Yeah, that makes sense. Did you all understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you all understanding? Give me thumbs up if you're understanding. Manchika, you understood? Shubham? Okay, good. We can continue. What's next?
Okay. Oh, sorry. Niveta,
Okay.
are you gonna do this?
Yeah. So another thing that's hurting the environment right now is deforestation. So if we break down that word, we can see that the first two letters are D, which means stop. And then forest is like trees and everything. So deforestation happens because there's so many trees being cut down, but not as many trees are being planted again. So simple examples of this are you cut down trees, and trees make wood for fire and they make paper. And trees are so important to the environment because they clean the air and they make homes for animals and they keep the earth warmer or colder. So they keep it colder. So trees help a lot with stopping climate change. So if we cut everything down, then there won't be any more trees to balance it out. Cutting down all of these trees can lead to soil erosion, climate change, and so many animals lose their homes. Like, the birds that live in the trees, they all lose their homes every time these plants are cut down. So to help reduce deforestation, you can recycle the paper, like Asha said, reduce, reuse, and recycle. You can recycle